Man, what is going on, guys? Fire introduction. Welcome to another episode of Roofing Underground, brought to you by the motherfucking CEO of A5 Roofing and here at Roofing Underground, the Roof Poppy, Dave Taggart, your favorite roofer's favorite roofer. And I have my good friend, Chuck Allen, on the show with us today. Chuck, what is going on, brother? How are you?
Well, I'm feeling good, my friend. I got my good hat on here, representing
I see that.
my favorite roofer's favorite roofer. I used to
I
be
see
everybody's
that.
favorite roofer. Since I'm not anymore, I can no longer vouch and say that that's a true statement. But I believe whoever was second in line, you're probably their
Oh,
favorite roofer as well, bro. So
I might,
it is an honor to be here tonight.
shit happens, right? Like sometimes, hey, I got to replace the batteries every now and then too. It is what it is,
On
man.
occasion,
On
that's it.
occasion, dude. What is up, man? How have you been? It's been a while since we've seen each other. The last time we saw each other was about a month ago. We had a storm out in like Canyon Lake, Bulverde area. And you came out, hang out for a little while and give the guys some feedback and stuff. You have had a fucking lot going on since then, man.
Yeah, since that day, and let me tell a story about that day because this was pretty cool, and this is one that you'll really appreciate. Dave and I are out knocking doors, and we decided to go hit this church up. And we go to the church. There's no cars at the church, so we're looking around, and it's like, well, dude, I don't know. This man right here, he grabs the door, and I'll be damned if it's not unlocked. So we walk into a church, not knowing if there's anybody in there. We end up running into these young ladies who are both probably in their 70s, I guess, maybe even older. And we start a conversation randomly, and they ended up being the people that look up people's family lineages and so on. And
Yeah.
I learned a little bit about the Taggart family that day. I learned a little bit about a lot of stuff, and that was a cool memory. That's a one of a kind story right there that nobody else could share. So
And
get that out of the way early.
That was actually pretty cool. So that was the first time that I've driven by a bunch of churches, right? Big, large. And when people say like, Dave, why are you knocking on church? Because the roofs are huge, right? Number one, they're huge. And number two, these churches literally save money all year long for these kinds of things. And so if I can get them the best product and the best service for the right price where they're not getting ripped off and stuff, then cool, I've done my good deed for the day, and what better place to do it than a bunch of people that are just trying to do good any damn ways, right? So we go in there, we pull up, we get to the front of the building, and there was like no cars in the parking lot. I didn't even think anybody was there, and so I was like, let's go try the door. And the first door that we tried was locked, right? Like
We were getting ready to like kick one of the doors open just to see if anybody was there, and this is one of those moments where a lesser man or a lesser team would have just said, you know what, there's nobody here. And they would have never known their family history like we do.
I'm telling you, man. So it worked out for us, right? Like it didn't work out in the sense that like, somebody was, oh shit, let's go buy a roof, right? Nobody did that. But it was pretty cool that we got in, we had a conversation, and I did talk to what was the guy called? The president, right?
El Presidente.
El Presidente. So we got to talk to the president. I got to talk to him, and he informed me that they actually had like a whole property management company that they worked through. They had a whole setup for how they do what they do, and basically very nicely they just told me that I wasn't a part of it. You know what I mean? And it was okay. It was all right. Like I didn't take it hard. It wasn't fucked up or anything of that nature. It sucked that they didn't want to do business with me, but at the end of the day, hey, I get it. Everybody's got their priorities and stuff, but they probably had some approved, let's be real. They probably had some approved vendors or contractors inside of the community church that they were planning on working with, which is great. I'm all for it.
Yep.
And that's fine. Just a little salty they didn't pick me still, but oh well.
They don't know, it is what it is, unfortunately. But I agree with you. Someone that attends that church on a regular basis and has a special tie to it.
100%.
Hopefully that's who's doing the roof and it's not some punk ass from like Indiana or something.
Good for them. Yeah. Good for them. I'm cool with it, man. So what's up? What has been up with you? I'm noticing something different about your office now. There's something.
I got a little something going on back here. You can only see half of it because we got the zoomed in camera, but yes. So since we last spoke, I think you and I saw each other at IRE for just a very brief couple moments. Mm-hmm. I kind of knew what was going on at that time, but I couldn't say anything to anybody because it wasn't official.
Sure.
But yeah, I changed careers, took a different path in life. We had the roofing company and everything was cool with that. It I don't know, ran its course with me. Or I think I kind of outgrew it after 20 plus years.
Really?
And in the 20 years of doing this, I've got to be around a lot of amazing people. I've been in, so many different spots in our industry. I started off as a delivery driver and I was doing ground drops off the bed of
That's right.
a truck. I drove a conveyor truck for 12 years and roof loaded houses, opened up a roofing supply company, moved halfway across country to do sales. I've done all that stuff. And I don't know, I guess at some point you just grow up a little bit. I started
Right.
into some other things, doing consulting. I got to go travel and do a lot of things with a lot of different roofing companies across the country. And I come to find out that that's what I really enjoy. I love the teaching aspect.
You
And
know,
I'll be honest with you, Dave, like my roofing company, that was a complete, like, it was kind of an accident that even really happened because it was never on my radar. I never was like, dreaming of owning a roofing company in San Antonio. It was one of those things that just kind of popped up. And it's like, if you say no to that, you're crazy.
right.
And I did 4 years of it. It was fun. And, everybody's on good terms as far as the partners and everything. They had another roofing business over in East Texas. They've got a solar
Yeah, that's
company and
right.
building
That's right.
companies and stuff. So it was one of those deals where it's just like, you know what? Hey, we're all going to be great friends for life. I love those guys all to death, but let me do something different, man. Dealing with insurance, dealing with stuff on the back end of roofing is not
Yeah.
as fun as being in sales. And to me, I was kind of doing stuff I didn't enjoy. And the truth is, dude, both of my parents passed away in the last 2 years, and it made you realize that you're mortal. And if you're not going to enjoy yourself, dude, I'll probably be dead in 40 years anyway. And I'm already over the age of 40. So it's like I've hit halfway if everything goes according to plan. And it's like, dude, let's just have fun. Let's go do something that you want to do, something that you
Man.
enjoy. And I just made that decision, right? And here's the real kicker to it. I did not have a backup plan at all. I just knew I had to take that first step before I could take the second.
Yeah.
And I just basically was like, okay, I'm not going to do this anymore. Let me see what's up.
Burn
And
the fucking ships, man. Just move forward.
yep. And that's how I roll. I've done that many times, like that's just how life is for me. I've relocated and reinvented and,
For sure.
done some fun stuff. And basically what happened was after I announced that, I'll go back a couple weeks. I had spoken with Elizabeth Calzadilla from Business 411.
Right.
And I've known her for years, since she's been in the industry, really, like that first year back in 2015 or whatever it was. And I've always followed her, but I'm not going to lie to you. I did not have any idea what her company was or what they do,
Mhm.
And we did the podcast episode and she told me her life story. And dude, her life story is inspiring as hell. I'm not going to lie to you. I did not realize, number one, that she was as young as she is, or the depth of what she's done to get to where she's at.
Right.
And during that conversation, I was just growing with more and more respect. And I still hadn't really thought anything about it, but she called me up and said, hey, let's work together. Let's do something. So it was one of those things that I would have probably never in my mind, it would have never clicked. And I would have never said, hey, this is what I would like to do. But as soon as she called, dude, Dave, it was like, this is the perfect thing.
Okay.
Like, I'm not super over religious, but it's like, sometimes you just know, like, that's a sign and that's what I'm supposed to be doing. So
Chuck, I'll be real with you. I'll be real with the rest of the fucking people that are watching the show right now, because
millions.
the people that watch the show, millions of viewers at home, this is the most electrifying show in sports entertainment history. It's right here. But sorry, Dwayne Johnson. Here's the truth, right? When I found out that you were no longer happy in doing what you're doing, you and I had a conversation and I said, Chuck, where's your head? Where's your heart with this stuff? And you told me that you had a passion for teaching and educating so that other people could change their lives and do great things. And I'm like, fuck, I need a sales manager right now. Like I need that guy. I need an operations manager right now. Like this is the thing. I'm like, thank God. And you even told me that you had a conversation with yourself and you were even praying about it or thinking on it. and boom, and these doors just kind of started opening for you. And I was like, Lord, I hope one of those doors was mine, right? Because Chuck Allen is a phenomenal fucking human being, first and foremost. You know what I mean? I have a bunch of respect for you as a person, not far outside of roofing or profitability or any of those things like that. And it stems from the first time that I ever met you in person. You helped me carry 3 couches up 3 flights of fucking stairs, and I didn't even know you. You
That's
know what I
right.
mean?
I
Like
forgot about that.
I asked somebody that on Facebook if they knew someone in San Antonio that could help me carry some fucking couches because I was backstory. I took a job in Fort Worth, right? And so my wife, my fiance at the time, my wife now, we were relocating to Fort Worth, and I had 50-50 custody of my 2 daughters here in San Antonio. Well, to keep my custody of them and to make sure that they got to school every day while they were with me, I had to lease an apartment in San Antonio for 8 days a month, right? Because those 2 days a week that I had them, and then the weekends, I had to get them to school. And so part of what I had to do was spend the money to rent a second place to live for 8 days a month. And I went to move into that apartment and it was on the 3rd floor, right? Fuck, man. Why did I move into a place on the 3rd floor in the first place?
Why'd you
And
buy
so,
the nice furniture too? You could have bought that light, cheap shit, but
dude,
you know who to call. We
I had the
gotcha.
nice furniture when I moved into my nice apartment, and then I moved in with my fiance here at our home, and then I didn't need the furniture anymore, except for when I moved to to Fort Worth for a year. But so the apartment in San Antonio was more of a storage unit than anything else, right? And this me and my 2 daughters slept there 1 night a week, 2 nights every other week, right? And then on the weekends we were in Fort Worth with our family doing our thing. But man, dude, that was fucking awesome. I posted on Facebook and I needed somebody to help me move chairs, and you and Jeremy Ryan and one other person showed up. And man,
That dude quit
fucking
like that day too.
dude. Oh well, hey,
Different
thanks for
side
helping
story,
us.
but yeah, I never
Right.
saw that guy again.
Fucking appreciate the hard work, dude. But um that was absolutely incredibly awesome for you. And that's where I realized, like, this guy's fucking built different. You know what I mean? Like there are some people in this earth and in this world, Chuck, that have they are genuinely um they are the kinds of people that I feel like the knights of the old table and shit, like they would get together and they would be like, we need to go talk to that guy. You know what
Oh
I mean?
God. Yeah,
Like
I'd be on the
that.
losing side of that battle, but we'd have some fun for
No, no, no,
sure.
no, no. I'm saying they would be like, hey, that's a stand-up motherfucker over there. We need to go talk to that guy. He needs to come hang out with us, you know? Like that's when I think about people that are doing things the right way, and I see people that have a good heart and they come from um a very genuine and place to empower and to provide leadership to people. Those are, like, to me, those are old world qualities that are kind of disappearing in our culture today. And that's a big, first of all, if you're watching this shit and you see this stuff happening around you and you don't say anything, you're part of the fucking problem. But there are problems in our culture and our society today where the people don't live by those fucking codes. Like they don't live by a set of morals or even standards. You know, like when was the last time you asked somebody about their core values or what they honestly cared about? Like how we do it in business all the time. I do it with my team and my employees all the time. But when was the last time that you just heard a random conversation of people talking about how we could fucking be better human beings?
Not as often as I'd like, that's for sure. And that's one thing that I'm
No.
so happy with about our industry. And I want to take a second too. That was like one of the nicest things anybody's ever said about me, and I appreciate that. And it was an easy thing for me because same deal, dude. I watched you since before A5 existed and watched, you start your company. And dude, I don't even know how you did this, but A5 has been in existence for what? Not even 2 years yet? 2 full years?
I think we're on month 19 right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Month 19, day 12, hour 16. I got you. Just guessing. But
Yeah.
dude, in that period of time, okay, you let me come into your company and I attended one of your sales meetings. And
That's right.
that was amazing because, who does that? Who lets other people just come in because they just need a different energy?
Right.
But dude, you've got your shit together, man. Like you've got it figured out, and your team that you've got
I
is.
gotta interrupt you. I fucking don't have this shit figured out. I find myself guessing and making this shit up as I go every fucking day. But I'm give credit where credit's due. And you started to say it there. I've got a team that picks up the slack and does the shit that they can do, that they know needs to be done. So that way I can do the things that I'm doing, that I'm qualified to do for the business. Because there's plenty of this shit that I am not qualified to do. You know what I mean?
That's the truth. You know, we qualify ourselves as we go, and it's like, damn, I didn't know I could do that, but it kind of sucked, and I didn't enjoy it. But you know, you learn what you're made out of sometimes when you have no choice.
You know?
Exactly, right? We're still here.
We're not dead.
We made it this far in life, so no matter how bad I've screwed up in the past, which I mean, I'm that guy. I tell everybody I've made every mistake once. I don't typically make the same one twice. Maybe once or twice in my life I have, but I'll fuck everything up once just to make sure that, you know, that way wasn't slightly better.
You never, you know, how do you know if the stove is really hot, right? Like you can tell me the stove's fucking hot, but unless I touch it for myself, I'm not going to understand. This is, you know, we create neurological pathways between sensations and feelings through learning experiences. So like, let me ask you a question. Do you feel like in order to, I think you have to be willing to fuck up in order to learn or to at least make the wrong decision. I feel like there's probably a bunch of people that are going to be like, Dave, there's a better way. You don't have to make fucking mistakes to learn. But you're correct. I don't think you have to make mistakes to learn. But wouldn't you say like it takes an extraordinary amount of balls to make a decision, right or wrong, that you have to make a fucking decision and you have to fucking do something? And if you ain't fucked something up, you ain't trying. Is that what Derek Lee just said? If you ain't working. If you ain't fucking up, you ain't working. Listen, I kind of like that. If you ain't fucking up, you ain't
Derek's
working.
Derek's a good dude too. That's a good quote right there.
Solid quote from that guy.
Yeah, but dude, that's so spot on because I mean, one thing about me is I will say that I'm either just blindly stupid or extremely confident, but it's never been an issue. Like, you know, the first time that I got a big opportunity was when I was in Ohio. I lived there for 32 years. My home, dude, you know, like I grew up there. That was where I went to school from kindergarten all the way through. That's where all my family and friends were. And one day I walk into my office and they're like, hey, Chuck, you've been driving a truck for our company for 12 years. We're going to open a branch of this over in Charlotte, North Carolina. Do you want any part of this? And dude, I didn't even blink. I was like, yep, let's go. And at that point, I owned a house in Columbus. I had to get rid of my house. I had to move halfway across the country where I didn't know a soul. The dude that I was meeting to do the job with, I met in the parking lot the day that we opened the company. Okay. So it was like, okay, you know, that's pretty crazy, I guess, if you really think about it. But the reality is I believe in me. And I also know that if that doesn't work, well, at least I live in Charlotte, dude. Like it could be worse. I could have still been in Ohio, right? Yeah. And after a while, I got sick of that. I did the same thing. I came to Texas. I sold roofs for a dude that I met one day randomly when I was just here on vacation. Wow. And I went back to Charlotte and I relocated to Texas. So it's like, you know, the roofing company, Rio Blanco, it was out of business 4 years ago.
That's right.
We came and reopened it and reinvigorated and energized it and built it up. And then, you know, it ran its course in my world, but I've never been afraid to fuck stuff up, man. Like that's my thing. I've probably made more mistakes than anybody.
What let me ask you, Chuck, like, so you said that you literally came from fucking Ohio or North Carolina or somewhere over on the East Coast, right?
Ohio's where I was originally born and raised.
Okay. So Ohio, then to North Carolina, and then from North Carolina to Texas to revive this dead roofing company.
Before that, though, I went and when I first came to Texas, I lived in College Station for 7 years, and I worked for a roofing company over there. That's where I did my residential roofing, and you know, really kind of honed my sales craft working there, and learned about the ins and outs of contracting. Okay. And then the opportunity came to do the company in San Antonio. And again, dude, I'd never been to San Antonio before in my life until the day I got here to go into my new business that I was being a part of. I lived in our office for 6 weeks, dude. I lived in our office because I didn't know if I was in a good neighborhood or not, you know? And it was literally like the first 6 weeks I was there, I would spend one day in the office, one day at a hotel so I could have a shower and not be a dirty butt. But it was like, that was how it was for me. And I didn't know any different, right? I didn't know anybody. I still don't have too many friends here because I was tied up in the business, but you know,
why is it always Why is it always the fucking sales guys that have like the sweater on the couch story? You know what I mean? Like I say that very jokingly because my first job that I ever fucking had in sales as a grown person was at 18 years old. I had a job selling cars at a Honda dealership in Plano. Shout
Nice.
out to fucking Lute Riley Honda if y'all are still around.
They
Um,
are.
they
Home of the roof
probably
copy,
are.
baby. Come on.
Right? That's where it all started, man. I got a little bullshit, car sales training videos that I watched and stuff. But that was, I had $49 in my pocket, and I used that at the time to put a security deposit on a one bedroom apartment in Plano. And I had that one bedroom apartment, and I had my clothes, and I had enough food, like enough money to buy some groceries. And I didn't even have a car, bro. I had a fucking 10-speed bike that I borrowed from my girlfriend's neighbor's parents,
Ooh.
right? They had an extra bike, and I used to ride this motherfucker like 6 or 7 miles a day just to get to fucking work. And I would change clothes in the bathroom into like slacks and a dress shirt, and a tie by any fucking means necessary. You know what I mean? Like that's what I'm saying. When I say like, why do salespeople always have the sweater on the couch story? Because like I have a sweater on the couch story. And I know you've got a sweater on the fucking
Oh my
couch
God,
story,
dude. Yeah, all over the place.
and I know so many sales guys that have that same. So why do we all, why is that?
We're wired totally different. We're all
You think
fucking
so?
insane, quite honestly, and I love
Right.
it. I'd
Okay.
rather be this way than super conservative and hey, I go to work, I do my 9 to 5 Monday through Friday. I did that for a long time, and I always said when I was driving the truck, it was physical labor. I was out on job sites every day. I'm
Hmm.
throwing shingles to roofing crews and learning about that. That was fun. Okay.
Yeah.
No human being should do that for 12 years. My back's all screwed up from it, my shoulder. But I learned a lot. And
Hmm.
I always said, if it's not fun anymore, don't do it. And my big thing is I don't abide by my own rule until I get to like the breaking point. This time
Gotcha.
I didn't though. This time it was very like, hey, we're all going to go and do something different. My partners over there had other ventures going on as well. Leanne Koppel, she's now the co-host of the American Contractor Show. So like
Yeah.
everybody's like moved on to other
Yeah.
things that are really
Everybody's
cool.
got
And
plans for sure.
yeah,
What?
so to me, that's the beauty of it. When you just say, "Hey, look, let's go do this. This was fun while it lasted." It's not my legacy. It's not what I want my legacy to be. I've moved on to now what my legacy is going to ultimately be with Business 411 and what I'm going to be able to do to help our industry and everybody in general. But dude, we're crazy. That's all it is. You started a business with 49 bucks in your pocket, dude. Like, I know how that goes. I know a lot of stories like that. With me, I slept in the office for 6 weeks,
Yeah.
dude. Like, I didn't know anybody in San Antonio. I'm here 4 years, and it's like, damn, that
So
was
y'all,
crazy.
let me ask you a question, man. Y'all built this shit for 4 years, right? Like
Yep.
y'all worked Rio Blanco from the fucking from the now y'all got this from the grave down there by Medina Lake, right? Like this is where y'all resurrected this roofing company from nowhere. And if
Completely
people
dead.
don't understand what that area is like, right? Wasn't it out there like a Bandera or something like that?
This is it like by the airport in San Antonio. That's where
It
our
was
office was. Not where the most recent office that you went to, but there was one down the street on Sandow Road, just on the
okay.
other side. Just a
Okay.
little office. When I got there, it was completely empty. We were
Uh-huh.
able to assume the lease on it, and I moved everything back from storage into that office by
Yeah.
myself, basically.
Okay.
And yeah, dude, it was dead as shit. Like there was nothing. The joke is when I was at Rio Blanco, the first time my consultant, Mike Code, came down to visit with me, the only person in that office with me and Mike was a cockroach that I named Rodney, dude. And I named him Rodney because he was cool. I have a buddy named Rodney, and it had nothing to do with him at all. But I named it Rodney because I was having a conversation with him one day, and me and him kind of built Rio from the start. And, it was literally taking a dead brand is way harder than taking a non-existent brand
Shit.
because it's already died once, dude. Like it already didn't succeed. And, again, I'm confident.
That's like businesses that have to rebrand. I feel like it's hard for them to wash off the stench of death. You know what I mean? Like
It
that's
is.
real hard. I know some good dudes that have gone from one company to another that the company's failed or whatever, but if they're managers or something like that, it's like you might have fucked something up, right? But if you're an executive level person in that company and that company went down, like you have to assume responsibility for that, and that's a fucking hard thing to wash your hands of. Let me ask you a question, man.
Yep.
Because, and I'm gonna get a little personal, and I apologize if this is too personal, but
It's
you know,
not.
we talk
Ain't
about
nothing
some
too
real shit
personal.
sometimes.
People are watching this, and this is what we're about.
I worked with real close with a buddy of mine when used to be a good friend of mine when I first got into roofing, and you know, you get to know people and their families, and you develop these close bonds with them and stuff. Now, and the situation is probably different for you because it sounds like everybody just kind of went their own way in a happy family, but you know, the kids moved on, and you know, the dad and mom moved to another city, and you know what I mean, parents
Yep.
are retired now, kind of a deal. um for me, it was more like a death in the family. Like there was a breakup, you know what I mean? And there was like, you know, I don't fuck with you and you don't fuck with me kind of a conversation. You know what I mean? It was like, it's not the same thing,
It's
right? And
not.
it fucking sucks when, and I think that my story, the version of the breakup that I have, seems to be the same fucking story that's repeated with a lot of other people when they have these partnerships or these separations in partnerships. Excuse me. There, it feels like like you fucking lost.
Yeah,
Do
and you
you,
know what? I never have felt that. And I look at it like this, okay? With Rio Blanco, we all agreed now's the time. Let's just do it now and you know, move on. Everybody just let's just do it.
hmm,
The great thing was I was partnered with three of the most amazing human beings on this planet, three of my best friends that I will be friends with for the rest of my life. And they made me a much better person, Dave. The reason why I'm not doing that now is
wow.
because of the growth I experienced with them. You know, I got to go stand on stages and speak in front of people. I would have never dreamt that happening. I have a podcast with 100+ episodes. I never saw
Man.
that coming, you know, and all that stuff was because of my association with the Koppel family and the Cozels
Hmm,
over at ASAP Roofing. And you're right, because, dude, I'll be honest, this is a story I don't like to tell, but I was with the previous company that I was with for 7 years, and I felt like I was a part of their family as well.
yeah.
And the reality of the matter is, dude, you learn the harsh lessons in life the day after you leave when you're given the blessing and you're told, I would never, you know, never disparage anybody for trying to better themselves. And the next morning you're hearing, you know, all the shit that you're being talked about and stuff.
Yeah. What the
And
fuck?
it's like, hey, dude, like that was unnecessary. But it happens, you know. I always say it people, you know, if you can't serve them anymore, they don't have a need for you. And if you're $1 million plus producer and you decide to leave a company, I get it, dude. I took $1 million with me, and I'd be pissed if someone did that to me, I guess. I wouldn't,
Yeah.
though. I wouldn't. My guy, Jeremy, he started his own business. I couldn't be more proud of this guy, right? Like,
Yeah.
I taught him everything about the roofing industry, and he went and started a company. I will
Yeah.
never have anything bad to say about that, because to me, that's why I did this. When I started Rio, it was to help people that I've known in the industry, my roofing crews. They all came from Houston. I'd worked with them for years,
Hmm.
and I treated them extremely well. My sales reps, I treat extremely well. You know, I take them out. We go and we fine dine. We're at Chama Gaucha and we're at Brazil and all these crazy ass places.
Yeah.
And I think they appreciated that. And then for me, it was like, I want to teach you guys something that you've never experienced. You know, my last repair tech that I had, Francisco, you met him. He went and did
Yeah.
a repair job for you.
For sure.
Dude, this guy comes in and he's like the most humble human being I've ever met. And I'm like, okay, well, what do you want to do? And he says, I just want to make my kids proud. And he's like, you're also the first person that's ever asked me that question. What do I want? Most people are
Hmm.
just like, dude, you know, here's a job, go do that. And you are what you are. But I started the whole thing with that purpose. I wanted people that didn't have the chance to show what they could do. I wanted to give them a chance. And I met a lot of people. There are multiple people that were with my company that are now in ownership roles of their own businesses. There are people that are now high level at other roofing companies, which guys are welcome, but it is what it is. That's the whole point of it, right? Like if one of
Dude.
your guys was to say, hey, Dave, you've given me every tool that I need, which you know it's going to happen. You're training guys that are going to be fucking elite level. And they come in one day and it's like, hey, dude, everything you've done for me, I appreciate it, but I want to go try to do something like what you've done for me for someone
Okay.
else, right?
Oh, 100%,
If I can
100%,
help
dude.
you with anything,
Listen,
my number.
the first fucking response is, number one, if I can afford your salary and you can do what you feel like it is you're qualified to do for anybody else, do it here. Let's practice it fucking here and I'll pay you.
Yep.
Right? Like if you feel like you're ready to have that conversation with me where a salesperson walks in and says, bro, ready to be a sales manager? We'll fucking sit down, dude. Let's look at it pen on paper. Show me what you're bringing to the table. Let's talk about what's deliverable, and then we'll put a dollar to it. As
Make
long
it
if
make
you're
sense. That's all you're
dude,
trying to
if you're
do.
capable of fucking producing what you say you're capable of producing, I got you all day long. There's
Yep.
not a single bill that I have not fucking paid. I don't have a single salesperson in this world, including people that have sent me leads from other states and other places, that can't say that can say that Dave Taggart doesn't pay his bills or do what he says.
Yep.
Right? Like I still have a member. I'm not very active in my mastermind right now. It's personal shit, but don't worry about it. But I made a 12-month commitment to pay them and to be a member of this organization for 12 months. And when I decided that it wasn't really something that I was going to do or be a whole lot involved in, I had a conversation with a gentleman and he was like, bro, didn't you, but you said that you were going to do it for 12 months, right? Like low key, it was a sales move. 100%
Of
it was a
course.
sales move. It was a sales move. I talked to my wife about it and I said, hey, I feel like this was a sales move, right? I just got pressured. But remember, you said that you were going to make a commitment. And I told my wife, and I said, but if I don't honor my commitments and do what I said I was going to do, then I'm fucking no better.
You're
than the
completely
people.
lying to the world if you say anything opposite of that at
But
that point, being real.
Then my whole fucking problem with what I was dealing with at the time was because there were some people inside of the group that I was dealing with that fucking robbed people, right? And lied about what they were capable of doing. And it caused a bunch of fucking problems. And there was no integrity. Like there was no core values displayed. There was no accountability. There was nothing. And so I was like, well, fuck this. You know what I mean? Like straight up, I was like, fuck this, I'm out. And then my wife and I had the conversation after we had spoken about it with a gentleman from the organization. And I said, dude, if I don't honor my commitments, even like vocally what I said I was going to do, even though I'm not contractually obligated, Chuck, if I don't do it, I'm no fucking better than the people that I have a problem with.
Dude, it's
You know
like,
what I mean?
it's like looking around at the shopping center and being like, dude, nobody's here, so I'm just going to leave the cart.
Put the fucking
I never
cart
do
back.
it. Put the cart back, because if you do that when
cart
nobody's
back.
looking, you're going to do some shit when people are not around. And
Dude,
that's how I identify people, man. Like I actually fired a dude one time because we went to the store and he did that with a cart. And it was like, we're just not a good fit, dude. Like that doesn't work for me. That's one instant disqualifier. And I do want to mention one thing. There was another move. I see Kevin Burrell posted on there as well. I didn't realize I could read your comments, but
yeah, you can.
Kevin, it was only 6 weeks in Indy that I lived there. But yeah, I did go to Indy for 6 weeks. I worked with John Dye over at ASAP Roofing there. So that was another one of those moves in between College Station and San Antonio.
So now I get the connection with Leland, right? How do you say her name?
Leanne
Copel, right? And ASAP Roofing and John Dyer and John Dye and the contract. What does he have? What's his
contractor?
His
American Contractor
the
Show.
American Contractor Show. That's
Yep.
right. He's always got the badass setups in the truck at the trade shows and stuff. Yeah, it's a pretty dope. He's got a good setup, man.
And John's a good guy. I've known him for a long time too, man. Just a good dude. I left my job and I literally did go to work with John in Indy because I was friends with him. I called him up and was like, hey, dude, same deal. I didn't have a plan. I walked in and I quit my job and was like, all right, let's figure out what we can do. And, I ended up doing that, but good call on that one. It worked out. It worked out for everybody, and here we are years later and everything's still cool.
So now, after what was not a painful breakup for you, excuse me, live show, I just had to burp. After what was not a painful breakup for you, now you're with Elizabeth and the team at Business 411, and you found your niche in being able to help educate and train contractors and business people. Like, what kind of fucking segue do you make from owning a roofing company or to being a managing partner of a roofing company to a full-time educator?
Dude, great question. Okay. And this has been a little bit of a problem for me getting started. I'm not going to lie. Because the first thing I do is I reach out to my network. Okay.
Yeah.
And my network has known me as a roofing guy for 20 plus years. So
Yeah.
now I'm like, well, hey, dude, what about your website? What about this? What about your SEO? What about your yard signs? And people are like, okay, dude, whatever. And I get that. But the truth of the matter is this, okay? I have 100% confidence in this business 411, in Elizabeth and her entire team. There's like 30 some people that work in this company, and she's already got 800 contractors in her database and has already done over $700 million in development and growth for those clients in 3 years. Like, bro, that's not even bullshit. That's a legit, she's got the numbers, right? I didn't know that.
I've got a fucking invoice from her that's been sitting in my inbox for literally a week. I reached out to her team and I spoke with Vanessa, and I asked my wife if she could bring me some water. She texted me some inappropriate shit, right? So
I like it. We're live.
So it's fucked me up there. It completely fucked me up. I'm sorry. I would just like some water. That's just for the record. I just want some water right
Just
now.
want some
That's all.
water right now.
God
We'll
damn,
deal with
I'm
the
not
other
a
stuff
piece
later.
of fucking meat.
We'll deal with the other
I am
stuff
a
later.
human being with feelings. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Come on.
Jesus Christ. So, anyways, so back to the conversation with Liz. Man, I reached out to her and I said, "Hey, listen, look, I have something that I'm looking to develop into a digestible document that people can." Because, bro, when I'm teaching somebody about insurance restoration or construction or claims process or workflow, it's fucking like drinking from a fire hose. You know what I mean? Like, and when I'm talking construction with somebody,
Dude,
Chuck, I've been
energy,
building
baby.
things, but I've been building and constructing shit with my hands since I was 15 years old. No bullshit. One of my first jobs that I ever had was working as an assistant to a bunch of framers in Austin, Texas, for this company called KB Homes, Kaufman Broad. Right? Don't tell anybody at KB Homes that they had illegal child labor out in the summers, but they did. I was
There's
15.
a statute of limitations on it, I guess, right? Or you were a
Yeah.
1099 sub.
I
That's
was
how that
so
works.
my job. So I got this job. I was riding my mountain bike one time through this neighborhood, and they had these Mexican dudes who were framing these houses in the summertime, and I was out there like jumping my mountain bike, over their fucking little dirt piles and stuff. And the dude was like, "Hey kid, you want to make some money?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." He's like, "I'll pay you $25. You clean all this shit up real quick." And I was like, "All right, cool." So I literally just jumped off my bike, went over there and swept up the house, $25. And then the dude told me, "Hey, I'll pay you $25 a house. You go clean up there and put all the hangers, joist hangers in this box, nails in this box, stack all the fucking wood up over here, right? I'll pay you 50." And I was like, "All right, cool." So I started doing that, cleaning up these damn job sites, sweeping the slabs, getting all the sawdust and the nails off shit after the framers were done. And then I had a framer named Jose Perez, and he was from Monterrey, Mexico. And they are probably some of the best framers when it comes to like stick framing that I've ever seen. Like they're from Monterrey, Mexico. No bullshit. When they cut a fucking board with a skill saw, they don't even have to set the bevel sometimes. These guys are fucking, and they do this shit. And I'm like, where's the fucking speed square? Like, you know what? And then no need it, right? Man, they cut the shit and go to town.
And it's perfect, and it pisses you off because I use a square and my shit's all jagged. Come on, guys.
Dude, bad, right? So like I understand. I learned real quick that these guys were hardworking motherfuckers, dude, and I just got to sweep up after them. And then they taught me how to lay out walls. And so the next summer, when I needed a job, what I used to do was lay out the 2x4s when they would say, "Hey, I need a wall right here, 21 foot long," and I would lay that shit out and boom, 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 boom. And I would nail the studs, to the top and the bottom plate. And they would go small wall sections, right? I'd get like a 10-foot wall or something I could manage by myself and do some shit like that, man. But I learned, and I've been, so to back up, bro, I've been building shit for a long time. I've been a licensed electrician now going on 13 fucking years, right? Here in Texas and Alaska. I've got a license and reciprocates to a bunch of other states. A residential home builder's license in Texas. I've got a bunch of other shit. and a bunch of experience. And so when I'm talking about construction or code or anything like that, I find that people have a hard time. Some people have a hard time digesting it because it comes off the shit just comes out, man. And I need a fucking document that people that don't know anything about construction can sit down and look at and say, okay, this makes sense. You know what I mean? Like I can follow the fucking dots on your paper here, Dave, and I can see what to do next. And that is something that Elizabeth provides contractors, right? And
Dude,
but
the best in the industry, hands freaking down. That's the thing that nobody really is
yeah,
aware of yet. But I'm going to start screaming it from the top of the highest mountain. Like, I didn't even know exactly what Business 411 did.
okay.
I started getting into some of the training guides, the manuals, the homeowner education. Dude, if I would have had that stuff, holy cow, game changer, completely different ball game across the board. We're doing a 2-day training in Fort Lauderdale next month, which she does a few of those a year, bringing in contractors. And Elizabeth has done in 8 years. Her story is incredible, dude. And like I said, I didn't know all this, and this is what just drew me right to it. She had split custody of her little boy, and she says, every time she didn't have her son, she'd go on the road and she would do consulting with roofing companies. And she was hitting 100 roofing companies a year. And she was also working at iRoofing and doing consulting through that. And she literally put the SOP together herself from a desk that she bought on Amazon in her apartment. That's how she built the freaking thing. And dude, I look at this. She's going to fill the room. I promise. I've got friends that are going. I'm going to be there. I start looking at this, and it's any roofing company, startup up to 50 million, dude. This thing shows you the entire blueprint for everything along the way. She custom built it herself.
Let me ask you a question. Does a product like that's already prepackaged, does it force roofing contractors that are adopting it to change their workflow or their SOP? Is this like hey, this is the Chick-fil-A model, follow the Chick-fil-A model sort of a deal?
It is. And it's not just Chick-fil-A, but it's like Chick-fil-A and every other freaking restaurant on the face of the earth that she went and talked to. And take a little bit from this one, take a little bit from this, take a little here, put it all together. And it's plug and play. That's what we say. This is a plug and play strategy in which Elizabeth has done tens of thousands of hours of work and built this so that you don't have to. Any issue you're having in your company, it can be solved right here. It's in this guide. And, if it's production, if it's trying to understand staffing, if it's, understanding how margins work.
As a business owner, you already know what the fuck I'm thinking, though, right? Like the skeptical business owner part of me is going, well, great. What the fuck am I going to have to change inside of my organization now?
Whatever's messed up, you're going to have to look in the mirror and say, hey, dude, this is what's wrong. And we're going to show you exactly how to fix it. And then it's on you to do it.
Right. But my question is, how do I know it's wrong? Here's the I'm gonna play devil's advocate with you for a second.
For sure.
If you ask the roofing industry what the best payment plan is, how many fucking answers are you going to get?
50 million different ones, and most of them don't make any sense. I don't even understand some of them.
But I've got two schools of thought that I've narrowed it down to. People say 10-50-50, and then they do like somebody else will come in and say, well, you pay them a percentage of the contract, or whatever, right? Those are two basic ones: paid on profit, paid on contract value. And I've heard people say, hey, you can't fucking do that. That company on 10-50-50. When I first started my business, I adopted a 10-50-50 strategy with my project managers because the people that I was bringing on were already experienced and I taught them, what I mean? Like it was fucking no brainer. So I bring them in, I invest dollar for dollar in them, and I have somebody tell me that runs a very reputable roofing company in Florida, mind you, which is a hard thing to fucking do, right? Yeah. But a Florida roofing company says, bro, no business can survive losing 50% of gross profit. Like it's not a long-term growth strategy. And I took that to the fucking bank and I was like, damn, I got to change some shit, right? So I started looking at things I could change, mitigate some financial loss, cooked up a very I would say a healthy sales and compensation plan for entry-level employees to grow into a 50% profit share. And so we take that, and then I talked to fucking Kurt Lennington, and Kurt Lennington's like, every single fucking person on the team is fucking 50% profit, Dave, right? Like he's got the accent and a fucking Bugatti to match. Like, You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
then
he's a guy that knows what he's talking about.
dude, and then my buddy Ray Little over in Georgia, right? He's got a perimeter roofing, fucking massive. You know what I mean? And every single one of their sales rep is 50% gross profit. So people say that here's the right way or here's the best way. And when I have a conversation and somebody says, hey, I've got the SOP, the workflow, the proven blueprint formula, plug this into your business. As a business owner, we go, man, dude, we've heard that shit so many times, right? We've heard it so many times, but we haven't heard it with as much data to
Exactly.
support the conversation that I think that Elizabeth honestly brings to the table. And when I'm going to tell you the truth, Elizabeth, if you're watching this, I got a lot of respect for you, love you.
We
But
love you.
when I first met her, when I first heard her speak on stage, it was at an event that I was at RoofCon, and she said something that she did not believe salespeople needed to create a personal brand. And I was like, ooh, I disagree, strongly disagree, right? But not every salesperson needs to develop a personal brand. And so I didn't know because the advice didn't fit what I agreed with, and I instantly was like, "Oh, I'm going to disqualify somebody." I was being human, 100%, and I apologize for that. Um, I have since created a new thought process, right? And I have looked and I've said, "Okay, this many fucking people can't be that fucking wrong." Right?
Exactly.
Like this, if there's this much data to support her system works and her process works, I should probably open up. And I did. I had an hour-long phone call with Vanessa,
Yep.
and Vanessa walked me through the SOP packages, the retail sales package, the insurance restoration package, and she was showing me everything in the workflow. And I was like, this makes fucking sense, you
That's
know?
the key, dude. And the reality is this, okay? It is a newer company, a little bit over 3 years old.
Yeah.
Dude, I didn't have any clue what Business 411 was until I talked to her and then I did some research. And the number one question I'm getting from everybody is, what do you guys do? Like, what, she's got 800 customers already, and that's freaking incredible,
Mm,
right? But
right.
then you stop and think about it, and it's like, well, 800's that's not a huge percentage of our industry by any means. So there's still a ton of people that either aren't aware that we can help, don't understand exactly what we're doing,
Mm,
or don't know who we are. So for me, that's my goal right now is I'm going to be, and it's funny, Mike Stearns just posted this reel today where I told Elizabeth, I want to be like TJ McCormick for her. The dude that's out there screaming, business 411, business 411, we can help you. We can do whatever. And I think that, that's going to be my role because I have developed relationships with people, and I've had so many people reach out to me in the last month. Like, dude, I didn't know you guys did yard signs. Shout out to John Steele with Steel Roofing. I've known this dude forever. He's a happy customer. I posted one of his pictures of all of his training guides. And then I posted a picture of a yard sign, and he's like, dude, I didn't know you guys did yard signs. So we're going to redesign his brand for him. We're going to redesign his logo. He's going to get new cards, new designs for his yard signs and all that stuff. And it's like, dude, yeah, we do everything. I'm looking at the deal today. There were billboards that were being approved by the design team. There's company magazines. There's all those training guides, like you said,
mm,
fully branded to your customer, to your company, to your colors, and it's the content though. I look at everything and I say, okay, I've bought every training package on the planet, dude. I've got
right.
everybody's stuff because I think you can't really ever know enough. And I can pull little things from everybody, what Adam Bensman does
Yeah.
versus what, Lee Haight does. They're not the same guy, but I can take something from both and I can make
Sure.
it work. So I think what
I think that's
Elizabeth's
what the best salespeople do, though, and it sounds like that's what Elizabeth has done, right? If you
exactly.
learn as much as you can from the people around you, and then you create your own systems and processes based off the knowledge that you gain. And this, like a lot of people will say, "Oh, for instance, right? When I entered this realm of being a fucking sales trainer or whatever, the first thing people do is they look for the similarities and they say, well, this guy's saying the same thing as this guy over here. And this guy has this process, but it's a lot like this process over here, right? If you listen to Adam Bensman and Becca Switzer and and Deshaun Bryant and Jacob, shout out my boy over here, you listen to a lot of these people that are and Ben was very good at this, sharing his wealth and his knowledge, right? Like passing the fucking information along. You can pick up a lot of similarities between all these people's teachings and philosophies and stuff like that. I've been saying something for about 9 months now because we're in that let me get multiple estimates season of roofing here in Texas. We've been in
For
it since like
sure.
fucking November. And I've been telling people, "Hey, listen, here's an estimate to you. What's your deductible?" And they're like 1,500. Well, my estimate to you is 1,500. That's your deductible. And then people go, "Well, what is that?" And I'm like, "Well, listen, here's how your medical insurance works, right? Once you pay your deductible, the rest of the bill goes from the doctor to the insurance company, and the insurance company calls the doctor and they argue about the cost of the shot. They don't call you and say, "Hey, why is your doctor charging me $400 for this shot and not 329?" Right? They
Yep.
don't do that to you. Your homeowner's insurance works the same fucking way. And I've been saying this for 9 months. And like 2 weeks ago, I saw a very reputable and a very good fucking sales trainer post a video, and it was literally, here's how to overcome the deductible objection with dealing with homeowners insurance related to the medical insurance and the deductible and copay and da da da. Da. And I was like, well, I've been saying this shit off camera for fucking months, but the thing is, everybody's going to have sort of the same flavor of juice, right? Because
For
at the end
sure.
of the day, it's fucking sales, and sales is literally a linear process, right? Like
Without a
there's,
doubt.
but some people get it differently. Like some people understand this shit. If you listen to Adam Bensman talk on camera, and then you have a one-on-one conversation with Adam Bensman, the intelligence level that Adam Bensman has is almost scary, right?
It is
Because
scary.
he's fucking so smart, dude. Like he is so smart. And if I'm lucky enough and he's watching this hour-long podcast, man, shout out to him because I learned a lot of shit from him. I learned a lot of new ways of thinking and looking at sales and a sales interaction as an actual tangible object that I can move and turn and highlight different areas, right? Like, and I wouldn't have gotten that without him. I guess the point of that is you see a lot of the same similarities in people, but there's some people that just fucking get it on a different level. And I believe, honestly, now that I've had more time to digest, I feel like Elizabeth is probably one of those people, right?
Dude, it's insane. Like she is so good that it does almost scare me, like I have a lot of people that ask me, what's it like going from one thing to the other that's completely different. And I was partnered up with
Crazy.
two guys, and now I'm working with a team that's mostly females.
Mhm.
And I have no problem with that. I'm 18 years older than Elizabeth, dude. I got no problem with that. You know why? I look up to her. I seen what she's built here, and I was one of the same types of people, for all these years. It's like, oh yeah, whatever. I've been doing this so long that I know everything already. And then you stop
Yeah.
and look at stuff, and it's like, oh my God, like she's been building this whole thing, and the people that know about it are in love. And it's like, we just got to get more people to know about what's going on here and how this can help and how impactful this is.
Mhm.
Dude, she's going to change the entire industry. And I'm super pumped to be a part of it because it is what my passion is.
So
Yesterday, go ahead.
how do you feel about going from being an entrepreneur to being from being an entrepreneur back to being an intrapreneur? And I don't know if people don't understand what I'm saying, but I feel like the entrepreneur is the guy that assumes all the risk and the liability and also is responsible for the cash flow and the financial health of the business, right? And a multitude of directions. And then there is the intrapreneur. There is the guy inside of the company that makes that motherfucker work, right? That has invested his lifeblood and his time and his skills and his talents. And in an oil field, we call that a company man, right? Like this dude just bleeds, it bleeds BP green, right? And those are the entrepreneurs that make these organizations very, very, very successful. What is it? And I heard you say you wanted to be the TJ McCormick of Business 411. And let me say that TJ has built a huge reputation and relationship and a network for himself as the world's greatest roofer through a multitude of partnerships that he's had, right? And rightfully so. The guy's a fucking sales and marketing genius.
Genius.
He's fucking
Yeah.
great. He's great at it. So people are lining up at the bit to do business with TJ McCormick. But being an entrepreneur now, that's almost like, do you feel like that's a step back for you, or do you feel like that's a step in the right direction?
I feel like it's a huge step forward, honestly, because for me, I was doing shit that I'm not qualified to be doing, and it was draining me so much. And to me, it's like, just because you can do something doesn't mean that that's what you should be doing, like if you're the best at one thing, but it's not something you like and you don't enjoy it, don't do it just because you're the best, or because you don't want to teach someone else. And I've kind of been this way my whole time, like I didn't take care of a lot of the stuff at Rio Blanco. I had an entire company that did it for me.
Right.
I was there, but not really, I didn't deal with all that. So I come over here and it's like, okay, they've got great infrastructure. They've got a solid team that's already built. She's been working on this for years, has a group of people that will run through brick walls for her. And I think this is what I'm supposed to be doing, like I truly in my heart believe that this is my calling. I don't think roofing was my calling as far as being a contractor. I love doing that. It was fun. I'm helping a guy out here in San Antonio with a couple of deals that he's got going on now. And yesterday my blood was pumping because I got to explain the insurance process to a homeowner. This dude was all pissed off because he got a check for $7,000. Insurance says the roof's 30,000. They're screwing me. I need to get a cheap bid because, I have to pay all this extra money and yada, yada. And it's like, no, dude, that's not how it works at all. Let me explain this to you. Give me 5 minutes.
Yeah.
When it's done, the dude's like, oh, like, this is great. Like, I don't have to come out of pocket with all this. That's the part I love. The homeowner interaction, teaching sales reps, I love. And the other parts of it just weren't me. So I found a team where the people that are strong at that stuff do that. There's a marketing division, there's a sales division, there's a branding division. Each division has specialists in those places. It's not like I don't have to know how to design a website. Like I'll just say, hey, our website team will give you a call and we'll design you a website. Yeah. That's fun. And to me, I think it's a step in the right direction. I think it's a huge step forward. And I think my calling, like I said, is to help this company get discovered by more people. And I think that's my sole purpose. We're going to build a roofing sales division, and Elizabeth and I are going to build a division of the roofing sales portion of Business 411. That was what we talked about when this whole thing came to fruition. And I told her, yes, I want to do that. I want to build one of these manuals with your team. And I want to be the guy that goes and does the trainings and stuff, because that's the fun part. That's where my blood is like, pumping again, and I feel good. And it's going to be awesome, and I've started with Business 411, and I told Elizabeth I wanted to go through the sales training. She hired a couple brand new sales reps that started right about the same time as me. And we've kind of made a nice little bond as a team, Yeah. And it's like, ultimately I won't be doing that same job, but I love the fact that I got to come in, I got to learn everything. I didn't have to do cold calls because I have a network, I just started dialing up my buddies and saying, hey,
right,
let's do business, let's work, let's do what we can do together.
It's easier to fish in a familiar pond, right?
Exactly. And I told everybody that's my advantage, but dude, it took me 25 years to get that advantage. So don't hate on me because I worked my ass off for it.
Okay.
And if
you need to pay special attention to that, because I think there's a lot of people that will look at whatever it is that looks fucking easy, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because some people, there are some people that make things look fucking easy, and sometimes everyone sees that, they see the final product, they see the job offers, they see the people buying the trucks, they don't see the fucking, like you said, the 20 years of building the network in the background that it took you to finally get to this point to where you're like boom, now I can capitalize off that entire network now.
Yep.
Right. So I just wanted to stop and pay special attention to that, because I don't think enough fucking people give credit where credit's due when they don't realize that sometimes some shit takes 2 decades.
They
You know
don't.
what I
And
mean?
it really pisses me off when I see guys that are like, I'm going to start a roofing company. All you need is a crew. And it's like, no, dude, don't be like that. I want to help as many people as I can, but there's a lot of people that are detrimental to themselves.
I had
And
a
it's
dude
like,
call me one time. I had a dude, Chuck, call me one time and said, Dave, I know you're a great guy and you just love sharing your knowledge with people. Come have lunch with me and a buddy of mine that we want to start a roofing company, so you can tell us how to start a roofing company. Because basically the owner of the company is just the guy holding the money, right? And I was just like, yeah, that's all there is to it, bud. It's fucking
simple, right? I tell
100%. You
people,
got it.
yeah,
Fucking
if you
go,
want to
bro.
start a roofing company, you better have a pretty nice little surplus, because a lot of people start roofing businesses when a storm hits. That's nature. It is what it is. As well as I do, bro.
It's
When you start a roofing
it's an
company,
opportunity, and then there's an opportunity cost.
big opportunity costs that
Ugh.
people don't take into mind. You know exactly what it is when you go and say, hey, I'm David Taggart. I'm starting A5 Roofing, ABC, Derek Lee. What's up, buddy? Derek looks at you and says, okay, you have no history. We know who you are, but your company has no history.
None.
We're going to give you $5,000, dude. That's your credit line. Well,
I
you and
think-
I both know
I
that
think
doesn't
my
even
fir-
buy a roof,
I think my first credit line was like 10 grand, because everyone's like, dude, we know you personally and we know you sell roofs, but literally
We can't put it
nobody
up and
knows who
say,
fucking.
hey, yeah, corporate
Right.
office, I'm
There's
sorry.
no
We like
credit.
this guy. We vouch for him, but
Yeah, right. My fucking Facebook cred bought me 0 fucking business credit. You know what I
exactly,
mean?
and it's like, well, you start this and you say, well, okay, when I was with the other roofing company, we were doing 10 roofs a week and everything was flowing. Yeah, dude, that's because the bills
70
were being
grand.
paid and people were paying the bills, and
That's 70,000 fucking dollars, dude.
it builds up fast.
Jesus Christ.
And then you get the guys who start it and they're like, okay, well, I've been in the roofing for like a year and I've got my company and I'm Johnny Badass and this and that. And they start doing some ridiculously stupid things with ego, and it's like, don't buy a freaking brand new boat until like you've paid off your car or your house, or do something,
I'm guilty of that, right? Like I
are.
celebrated on month 6 of roofing and bought the car that I named the company after, right? So,
but there's a good story there.
But there's
now,
and I sold the car to buy the truck that I started this company with, right? But man, the fuck, I forgot what I was gonna say. Before
live, dude, that happens sometimes, doesn't it?
That's the shit. That's the shit, right? But before that, man, we were talking about, fuck, I forget what we were talking about. I'm not even.
We were just having fun, man. I don't remember what the hell we were talking about either, to be honest. These podcasts are weird.
We were talking about celebrating too early and shit, and we were talking about that and being the guy that goes around and fucks some stuff off, but not celebrating too early, right? Like some people celebrate too early and stuff, but as a business owner, with the bad weather that we've had here in San Antonio, there's been like one day every week for the past 3 weeks that we can build roofs.
Yep.
So my sales team, I've got fucking 4 sales guys chomping at the bit to get their roofs built, right? And I've got more customers signing contracts on roofs we can't fucking build because our schedule's backed up because Texas wants to fucking rain 6 days a week now, right?
You gotta love it.
So we love Texas weather. It's hailing like a motherfucker this month. So every time it rains, I'm like, please no more hail. Please don't fucking hail anymore.
Right? Just let us do what we got.
Just
There's
let
enough.
me fucking build some roofs, guys.
We're not greedy at all. We're not greedy
at all. So I'm trying to build these roofs. Everybody wants to build their roof, and I get the comment. It's only 4 roofs, and I'm like, but it's in one day. And they're like, Dave, we build 5 roofs a week last week or 2 weeks ago, or whatever. We can do 4 roofs a week. And I'm like, no, it's not 4 roofs a week, because 4 roofs a week, I only got to pay 2 of those next week, right? Like that. I get a little bit of time every time a roof gets done. I got 4 days to pay this material invoice and this labor invoice, right? I'm paying this shit quickly. So I get to buy myself 4 days. But if I build 4 roofs a day,
you're done.
That's 4 fucking. I'm 11 grand each roof. Boom, 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 like that. That's 50 fucking $1,000 a week, and that's a huge chunk of cash flow. And that's the thing that I think a lot of people, they say, okay, cool. There's a lot of money to be made. There's a lot of money to be lost in roofing as well. Like if you're fucking retarded and you're not paying attention to your numbers and your sales and making sure that the input is higher than the output, like you can really lose your ass in this stuff to the tune of tens of thousands of dollars quick. Like
Oh,
I'm afraid
hundreds
of
of
that.
thousands, dude.
Bro,
It,
that's
it
why I'm
doesn't
not the
take time at
fucking
all.
money man. I am not the money man at this company. My wife, Jacqueline, is the CFO legally for a reason, right? Like she manages tens of millions of dollars in her actual employment. I always joke and say that she volunteers her time at A5 for fun, right? But she does a phenomenal job for a massive, massive, massive global corporation, and they take ridiculously good care of her. But she manages the money here, man, because I am not that fucking guy.
Yeah, and
I'm
knowing
not that
that,
guy.
it's like, okay, cool. I can accept that fact. I'm
Yeah.
definitely not a CEO type dude because I'm a salesman in my mind. I'll spend every dollar I have today because I know I can go out tomorrow and sell a roof and make all my money back.
Yeah.
And when you live like that, some people just never outgrow that. And I realize my personality being what it is, that I'm not good with finances. It is what it is. I've never been good with finances. I'm just one of them people. So I wouldn't put myself in a position to where I'm a financial advisor. I tell people, if you ask me any advice on that, you're fucked. Don't do that. Like, don't do that. I'm not that. And
That's a bad call.
yeah, so knowing your weaknesses and knowing your strengths is very crucial. Being honest with yourself. I just told you I'm not good with money. I don't know too many people that get on camera and say, dude, I suck with money, but here I am. I'm just being legit and being honest. And, it gets you further in life than trying to fake everything and exposing yourself for what you really are, which is a dumbass that thought he knew more than he did. And, I think there's a lot more to be said for the person that's willing to say, hey, I'm going to put someone in a position to do this because it's not my strength. And I want the company to be healthy. I want my team to be able to grow and develop and continue to do things the right way. That's how you do it. You got to build a team. The one-man shows and all that stuff where the guy's doing everything. There's only so much you can do with it.
Yeah.
If you want to be $1 million company, that's cool. A guy can do $1 million in sales and can probably put that out in a reasonable amount of work in a year. But if you want to build a $5 or a $10 million company and you're $1 million salesman, there's only one way to do it: to get a bunch more people like you, or, find a whole bunch of people that are not quite as good as you, So different ways, like you said, to skin the cat, but I just love all of it, dude. I love it all.
So you're happy. It sounds like it sounds
I've been
like
in a good
I'm gonna be
mood for
honest with you,
5
man.
weeks, dude.
It
5
sounds like
weeks.
you're fucking happy again, Chuck, and I love that for you, dude, because like I said at the beginning of this conversation, man, you're one of those people that showed up in my life and showed me exactly who you were, and you have been that motherfucker every day that I've known you. And so from from a business owner to a business owner, and from a person, right, from a man to man, I want to say thank you for consistently being Chuck Allen, because Chuck Allen is a phenomenal fucking human being. And with that, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up for tonight, man. I always like to leave on a good note. Chuck, let people know where they can get in touch with you. Where's the best place for them to hit you up and say, hey, dude, tell me more about this shit that you're working on?
Dude, I'm all over the world. You know that. We were just talking a minute ago. My podcast, Keeping It Rio, I had a guest this week that was 7,000 miles away on an island in the middle of the Pacific. So she found me and she was on my podcast. Facebook, I'm extremely active, probably overactive, but that's the name of the game. We're trying to do our personal brands.
That's right.
Facebook's the place to get me, really. And with Business 411, I just want to say this, we are going to make a huge impact in this industry. I have 100% belief in the team and everything that's going on with it. I texted Elizabeth today and I just said, I can't thank you enough for calling me, for thinking of me when you saw that I was available and saying that dude would fit with us. And I believe in him. And I'm going to give everything I have to make sure that I pay that back and that I make her proud, which is amazing to say, right? Like, that speaks volumes when you're 18 years older than somebody and you want them to be proud of you because you look up to them. We're doing the event in Miami. I guess it's in Fort Lauderdale, May 18th and 19th. I highly recommend anybody to attend this, because it's going to be a game changer regardless of your status in the industry, the size of your company. You know, I signed up one of my great friends over in North Carolina that I can't wait to see down there next month. That's what we're doing. We're going to build something amazing, and we're just getting started. So I appreciate that. I appreciate you, Dave, having me on your show today, for everything you've done for me. When I was in a downtime in my life, like, dude, you let me come hang out with your team. You let me go door knocking, and we had some fun times, and I appreciate that. You know,
I like how this motherfucker just said, "Dave, you let me come do this stuff."
You
man,
did.
I asked you to come do it, brother, because I love you as a person, man, and you're a phenomenal fucking human being. And I couldn't think of somebody that represents what we look for in a company as core values more than it. It does me a great bit of honor for you to wear that fucking hat on my podcast, man. A huge bit of honor, Chuck. It has been a blast talking with you, my man. Thank you so much. Guys, if you let me say this, if you are a stranger to Chuck Allen, you need to familiarize your fucking self with him real fast, because he is a phenomenal dude. He is a stand-up fucking man, a great example of what perseverance and dedication looks like. And this guy has been this person every day that I have known him. So Chuck Allen with Business 411, if you're going to do business with Business 411, do yourself a favor and get in hold of, there's plenty of good people at Business 411, but I think that Chuck Allen, I vouch for him, and anything that he touches is going to have the fucking, I don't know, have like a stamp of approval or anything, like, you know, like Dimitri has directory, the stamp of approval, right? I'm going to get the Roof Poppy approved.
I got
stamp,
Dave Rectory, baby.
I'm gonna do, Roof Poppy approved, right? Like, this is a Roof Poppy approved contractor. But anyways, we're gonna wrap it up, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Dave Taggart, the motherfucking Roof Poppy, MFCEO of A5 Roofing and Roofing Underground, and I am your favorite roofer. My guest Chuck Allen with us tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for being with you. We gotta go.